So good morning again, everybody. Thank you very much for being here. This is really exciting for us to have such a great participation, not only from the audience, but from the speakers that we have invited from overseas and as well as from the US. In June, I went home to Colombia for my summer vacation, and it was then when I contacted Mr. Oscar Diaz because I knew he was a leader in the transformation that occurred in Bogota, Colombia, when he was working with Mayor Peñalosa. I was witness of that transportation when I was living there, and I have always been fascinated how this could happen in a city of 7 million people, where traffic is chaotic, or was kind of chaotic. It's not like that anymore. And these two very important speakers that have been advising mayors and other organizations around the world, showing lessons learned. It's not just empty speech, but it's really from facts and things that have been working very well. I was thrilled to be able to meet with Oscar in his office and brainstorm a little bit about what we could do with them here in Birmingham. So the letter B seems to be a very important letter in my life these days. Bogota and Birmingham, my two homes. It's really very special for me this moment to see all this happening, because both cities welcome me, and I want to always to make them better with the little piece that I can bring. So bringing Oscar is really exciting. Oscar Diaz holds a bachelor's in finance and international affairs from Externado University in Colombia, and then he came to New York to do his master's at Columbia University. He has more than 15 years in transportation, working in transportation projects, massive bus transportation, the inclusion of biking paths and biking days, car-free days. He played an instrumental role in Mayor Peñalosa's government during his tenure, and he has really amazing curriculum. So I invite Oscar Diaz, and thank you for being here again.
Thank you very much, Maria, and Fuad, and Mr. and Mrs. Fuad, for trusting her in bringing us here. Just a quick comment on this is the Sustainable Smart City Symposium. And we are in the winter here, and I don't understand why the AC is on. I'm freezing. So I just wanted to say, I don't know if it makes sense, sustainable, AC on during the winter. Okay, let's get started. We have a problem here. We are facing a reality. People are in love with their cars, and it's a terrible affair, and people just don't want to give up their cars. So we need to find other solutions to get people out of the cars and use public transportation. And of course, the main reason for that is that we have a faster way to move rather than using the car. But this is the reality, and this is what we are trying to change, that people fall in love with a bicycle and not with a car. And it's not an easy task. This is an advertisement inside a Transmilenio bus, the bus rapid transit system that we have in Bogota, in which it says that how much do you spend in transport, get a brand new car with only $110. There are other ads that I didn't put in this presentation that say that if you have a meeting, you are going to be late if you don't have a car. So this is all that is in our minds. We all grew up thinking that we should have a car because that gives us a status. I kind of was forced to buy a car because my mom thought that I was a complete failure because I didn't have a car. So I was, okay, Mom, I'm gonna buy a car. I got a car. I sold it to her, and then I moved to New York. So I didn't live there, but I pleased her by then. And this is the reality of the cities, and unfortunately what mayors decide to do to solve congestion is to build infrastructure, highways, and elevated highways. And this is in Thailand, and they have built and they keep building, and the only thing that happens is that the traffic gets worse. So that's definitely not the solution. And I love this picture because it shows that some cities got lucky here. This is in Cape Town, in South Africa, and this is an elevated highway that started to be built in the 80s and was never finished. So that's why they're lucky. They didn't. Otherwise, the traffic would be even worse. And they haven't turned it down because they use it to film movies. So the city gets some revenue and from it. And it's okay, but it gets some benefit out of it. And the only solution is to have a high-quality public transportation system. This is in Bogota. We still have a lot of congestion, but the reality is that the BRT system, the bus rapid transit system that Mr. Peñalosa created, and he's going to give us more details later, is faster than driving a car. And just imagine that we can have something like this in 280. The 280 highway will be fantastic, that you use the BRT system and you fly and you see people stuck in traffic next to you in cars. And this is in the downtown Bogota. This is a beautiful project in which the BRT system was combined with the pedestrian, only pedestrian street. This used to be one of the most congested streets in the city center of Bogota, and is now only for the bus rapid transit system that is called Transmilenio and pedestrians. And it integrates people, it brings people, it is bringing more people back to the city center because it's friendly and people like to walk. People really like to walk, so you just need to build some good infrastructure for them. And these are a few examples of BRT systems around the world. This is in Beijing, this is in Jakarta. We have been involved in them, helping mayors and ministers to get them done. This is in Guatemala City, this is in Mexico City, this is in Ahmedabad in India. So it's taking over because it's a good solution. It's more efficient than rail systems, and you can have them built quickly. This is in Eugene, Oregon. New York has a kind of BRT system. So it's taking over, and it's a good solution. It works on exclusive corridors, and it just takes space out of cars, but the priority is for public transportation. So now I'm going to move on to pedestrian spaces and spaces that seem to be very easy to design. This is a crosswalk, and when you look at it, you say like, hey, it's pretty easy to do this, right? So if it is so easy to build something like this, why do we have things like this? This is in India, where there is a fence that people have to jump or just go on the street to cross to the other side. This is in Buenos Aires, in Argentina, same situation. And this is even higher. So it doesn't really make sense. But again, just remember the first slide that I showed. It is because of we are so oriented to build cities for cars that we ended up accepting this. There are engineers that think that this is okay, and we as citizens accept it. This is in Mexico City. another obstacle. And of course it becomes more dangerous for pedestrians because they have to go to the street to be able to cross. This is in China. This is in Brasilia. This is in Sao Paulo. And this woman is trying to cross. I took this picture and there was no other place she could cross the street. There was no other place. It was the only option she had. So just think if she trips. So that's the only thing that could happen. And this is another not as tragic example in Mexico City. This was done by a friend of mine, Michael King. And this is basically showing how you could walk from Chapultepec Park, which is like their central park, to the metro station. So you start with good sidewalks, so you keep walking, then you'll find your first challenge to cross this intersection. There is nothing, for example, these people here with the stroller, they can really cross easily. Anyways, the sidewalk becomes a little smaller, and smaller, and smaller. And so small that not even two people can be on the sidewalk. And for example, this kid had to go on the street to be able to reach to the metro station. So he comes back, and oh surprise, there is a fence on the other side that he has to jump or do something to go on the other side. Excuse me. And this is the reality we saw from the presentation of Monica. The problem that we are having with food and nutrition, basically, but also it's because our population is not moving. They are just getting in the car, they are not going out, they are not walking, they are not using the bicycle. So if they are just using the car and our kids are not going outside, just staying, playing games, etc. So they're going to have this problem. And this is one of the biggest problems in the US and now in Latin America, and it's all over the world. And here in Alabama, we are not exempt from having this problem. And you know these figures better than me. And Alabama is the second state with the highest number of people with obesity in the country. So we really need to work on this because it's something that is becoming very challenging for your citizens, and it's going to have effects on how our population are going to keep growing. So what do we need? We need an integration of a number of variables that make our city more sustainable. So a good design entails integration of different initiatives. You already have an initiative that's called in-town transit partnership. So we need a good public transportation, we need services, we need public spaces, and then we're going to have a better downtown area, which is basically the heart of our city. If we add up all of these factors, we are going to have a more sustainable city. And you have great ideas, you have great initiatives. If you can recognize Michael here, using the bike sharing program that Alabama Power has, which I believe is a great initiative, and I would love to see that in other companies. I think it's a great initiative that should be replicated by other companies and even in the university. It will be good to have a bike sharing program inside the university. So we need to have the bike sharing program, create bicycle paths, pedestrian-friendly environments. We need good infrastructure, and we need promotional events. And to be able to do that, we need the public sector, the insurance companies, the private sector, the university, and non-profit organizations work together. Integration of public transport systems is crucial. We need to have people that are able to arrive to a bus station by bicycle and then take the public transport. Because the public transportation is not going to be right next to our door. So if we need to have to make it easier for people to arrive to public transport. So this is an idea that we have for a crossing in Bogota, in which we say that we could have a pedestrian-only phase in which we can have people crossing at any direction safely. And we didn't invent this. I mean, this is done today in Tokyo, in London, in Auckland, New Zealand, and it's a good way to integrate a facility, a solution, because we believe that public transportation solutions should not separate but integrate. So as you can see in this proposal, people are going to be able to cross at the same time to any point they want. And this is going to be safer for pedestrians. And you can also have some other solutions integrated with little creeks that pass by, that remind people that they exist, that they are around, and you can create with these solutions in which you bring cyclists and pedestrians, you can create small plazas where people can come, read newspaper, and enjoy the public space. And here we show high quality bus traffic transit system passing by faster than cars, and infrastructure for bicycles and infrastructure for pedestrians. If you don't have this infrastructure, people are not going to walk. You need to bring people back to the streets. And this is something you really need here. You need good infrastructure to bring people. People bring more people to the public spaces. So for example, we need good sidewalks, so retailers also feel encouraged to have nice places there, and they do some tents, and they bring cafes. So all of this happens, but you need to start with something, and that's the political will. And I saw this morning from Mayor Bell that he is committed to creating this. So I think if we just put all the pieces together, we are going to be able to reach something good. This is a really interesting example of how you don't have to separate things. And this is in China. They copied it from Europe, and it's working very nicely. And it's called shared streets, in which you can have people using bicycles, walking, and cars, all at the same place. And it works. The only thing is that if someone driving wants to get in this area, they have to drive slow. And so if they're in a hurry, they can take it. And pedestrians, they know is their space, so they walk in the middle. And if a car comes, they have to drive behind. So it's a good way to show that everyone can be in the same place. And this is one of our latest projects. This is in Asunción, in Paraguay, in which we are using the bus traffic transit system as an opportunity to trigger some city's transformation. And it's been a great excuse to propose some urban renewal that is so needed in this city. And you can see it is isolated, it feels like empty. But you can build something in which you bring people back, you have the bus transportation solution, but you also revive the city with some pedestrian spaces that are nice, that call people to come. And this is a beautiful example of Copenhagen. This used to be a parking lot and in the 60s and 70s, and they turned it into this, a beautiful plaza where people come and meet. And it changes completely the way people interact with each other. And this is, of course, the great example that now we are showing everywhere. This is New York City, in which they transform Broadway. And I'm going to say this because Mr. Peñalos is probably too humble to accept it, but he was the one who had the idea of pedestrianizing Broadway. And then a great commissioner of transportation, Janet Salihan, came to the Department of Transportation and took his idea, and this is what it is now. It's so beautiful. It transformed New York City, and the majority of the people like the solution. It's all pedestrian spaces where before cars park, there are now places where people can just have lunch and enjoy it. All of this was transformed. This probably doesn't mean much to you. I'm going to move to the bicycle part. But just to show you this, you are not experiencing this yet. But if we succeed in bringing more people to live downtown, you're going to have traffic in downtown areas. And what this shows is how, from one point, going to different directions in Bogota, it is faster to go by bicycle than by car. So in short distances, when you go somewhere that is 3 miles away, 2 miles away, even 8 miles away, you can bike. And probably you will be faster. And I experience this every single day. I bike to work, and I'm always sure how long it's going to take me, because there's not going to be a traffic jam for me. And I don't know if you guys are aware of David Byrne, the leader of Talking Heads. He wrote recently a book called Bicycle Diaries, and he's a bicycle advocate. And he said that he started biking because it was the only way he would be able to know at what time he will arrive to his meetings. And it's true. And he was getting late. At that time when he started biking, the subway didn't have a good frequency, so it was unreliable, while the bicycle is always reliable. This is a network that we created in Rio de Janeiro, in which is also a beautiful network because it connects. This is Rio de Janeiro on the left, and here there is a ferry, so you can have your bike here, you can park it, or you can put in the ferry, cross the water, and go to the other town, which is Niterói, which is a city where people live and they come to Rio de Janeiro to work. So it's a good integration between bicycles and a ferry in Rio de Janeiro. This is in Buenos Aires. They have a bike sharing program. It was an initiative by the city hall. The mayor's office decided to have it, and they started. It's manually organized, but now they are bringing the private sector to operate an automatic system. And it's working, and it's bringing more and more people to use the bicycle in Buenos Aires, in Argentina. This is another system in Rio de Janeiro too. This is it's called Samba. And it works well. It is not the high-end technology, but it works pretty well. It uses the telephone to unlock your bicycle, and solar panels to provide the power for the system. And this is in Long Beach, in California, where they have a parking space for bicycles. This is in Bogota, in which people can arrive to a station, and this is a terminal. Arrive, they enter here with their bicycle. There's a special access for bicycle. They don't have to pay anything to take care of the bicycle. They just lock it, and then they go and take the bus, and then come back. And it's a great feeder system for the bus. This is something wonderful that was also created in New York City. They get rid of parking spaces and create a bicycle lane for cyclists, and it's safe. And a few people were using the parking spaces, and a lot of people are using the bicycle paths. Here again, some of the examples of Broadway in New York. Here you some areas they were able to keep the parking space, but it's in a way protecting the cyclists from the traffic. So it's a good use. Here you have parking space, some public space for pedestrians that they can walk safely, and then the bicycle path. Here, some infrastructure examples in Copenhagen, in China. Here, this is the network in Copenhagen. A few years ago, I met a deputy mayor, and she was frustrated because they didn't have enough cyclists. They only had 40% of the trips, and they wanted to reach 50% of the daily trips by bicycle. And they are reaching the goal. They're going to get there very soon. But look at the network they have. It's an extensive network where you can go wherever they can. And this is part of our work in Belo Horizonte, in Brazil. Some good designs for bicycle infrastructure to let people move by bicycle. Here, high quality infrastructure. We believe that cyclists have the right to have the same good infrastructure as drivers. Why not? We're the same human beings. So why don't you have good infrastructure for cyclists? Here are some other solutions for pedestrians. If you have good pedestrian spaces, it will be good for people to access the public transportation. The main feeder system of public transportation are sidewalks. So we need good sidewalks. Some other crossing and intersections that you can improve to make it safer for pedestrians and for cyclists. Some infrastructure that can be improved, that is already there, but we can improve it, separating the conflict between pedestrians and cyclists. We can also have improvement in infrastructure that already exists to make it safer for cyclists. And there are some, the space is there, we just need to use it well. So it is important to consider that we have a huge opportunity here. There you have very wide streets, you have so many spaces and pieces of land that can be revived and renovated. And it is not expensive. There are solutions that are good for the city and will bring more people down. And this is some other initiatives that we believe will succeed here too, which is the Car-Free Sunday. And it's in Bogota. We close 70 miles of main streets, and people go and take over the streets. And we have 1.5 million people going out every Sunday. And this is the best public space the city has. Every Sunday from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. And these are some very interesting numbers that I found related to how the money you invest in an initiative like this in Bogota brings you back as a cost benefit. And for example, in Bogota, the cost per capita is $6, and the cost benefit ratio is between 3.3 and $4.26, which means that for each dollar that the city invests in the Car-Free Sunday, people are saving 3.23 up to $4.26 in health in health costs. So it's good. It's an investment. We're getting people to exercise, and it's bringing us something back. And the same thing, the program has been replicated in other parts of the world. In Guadalajara, it has 15.5 miles. The cost is 6.5, and the cost-benefit ratio is 1.23. In Medellin, in another Colombian city, the cost is $23, and the cost-benefit ratio is 1.83. In San Francisco, they have their Sunday streets. They have about 31 miles. The cost is higher, 17.5, but the cost-benefit ratio is 2.32. So it's worth it. It's worth it, and we are getting people to exercise, and this is going to reduce our cost in health. And you say, wow, but this is very amazing, these numbers. Yes, because the infrastructure is there. You just need to close the streets, and then you will have the public space we need for people to exercise. And excuse me. And again, New York got inspired by Bogota, and they created their own system. It's called Summer Streets. They do it during the summer. It's on Saturdays because on Sundays they have all the parades you can imagine, so they couldn't find enough days because they have every Sunday there is a parade day. So they do it on Saturdays, and it's very successful. And every year more and more New Yorkers come out and use this great public space. It's only about 7 miles, and they have a lot of people doing exercises. So you can have people doing Zumba, which I understand is something very good here in Birmingham. So you can have people doing this. In New York they did karate, and there were stations for people to repair their bicycles, to learn how to ride a bike. I've met people who learn how to ride a bike during these events. And this is Car Free Sunday in Sao Paulo. This is a picture of Mr. Peñalosa with the Secretary of Sports and Recreation in Sao Paulo when we launched the Car Free Sunday in Sao Paulo. So I hope soon I change this picture for a picture also of Mr. Peñalosa, but with Mayor Mayor Bell riding the bicycle in a car-free day here. These are some of the numbers your city has. It is shocking, I must say. 95% of the population drive. 83% of them drive alone. So, of course, this is increasing the number of cars. 0.1 bike to work. This is almost inexistent. But I saw a few bikes around the university. But if we build more infrastructure, we will have more students doing it, I'm sure. And I borrowed these renderings from Tom Maxwell from the Regional Planning Commission. And these are great ideas. I think these are really great ideas to improve the quality of the public space in Birmingham. You can see the transformation. And it really changes, and it really brings the idea that you can have very nice spaces for people to come. And I have a proposal. It might be bold, and sorry, I've been here for one day, but so I'm sorry if I'm saying incorrect things here. But just to give you an example, someone that weighs 180 pounds and bikes at 12 miles for 1 hour burns 654 calories. So it makes sense if we get people to ride a bicycle. This is a little. I had never seen this figure before I made this presentation. But to burn half of a hamburger, you will need to bike 2.5 miles. So maybe next time you eat a hamburger, just think about how long it will take you to burn it. But you can burn it just doing a few different activities throughout the day. So the idea that I'm bringing here is that you can have 3 different options to burn these calories. So we're talking about an activity that you can do once a week, an activity that you can do daily, an activity that you can do once a month. And here is a map. This is where I don't know exactly if I did the correct thing, so probably I'm not using the right example of the streets. But for example, as a daily event, including running, walking, or biking into an activity, a normal activity. So for example, when you go out to lunch, you can ride your bicycle and get lunch. That's why I like so much the idea of the bike sharing program of Alabama Power. Because they just borrow the bicycle, they go and have lunch, and they burn some calories going there, and come back and burn a few calories. So you can do that. And of course, it will be nice to have some bicycle spaces, bicycle parking for people to arrive, leave their bicycle. So we'll need to work on some bicycle parking. Maybe a weekly event. Why not to arrive to the service on Sunday by bicycle? It will be possible. I ride my bicycle like this when I bike to work. You don't need to be wearing any really special clothes. If you ride at a normal speed, you don't sweat. And there are bicycles that are made for people that they are comfortable. They don't have to make any effort. You are basically standing, and you don't sweat. Maybe the first 1 or 2 weeks, while you get used to it. But after that, I promise you won't if you're at a good speed. And what about a monthly event? This is a car-free day that we can start doing here once a month, and I'm sure people are going to love it, and maybe we can do it then every 2 weeks, and then every week. And I think it will be, this is a ride here. I think it goes to 20th Street, if I'm not wrong. And look, we even designed some of the no parking using your Birmingham logo, and using also the walk logo of a smart, I felt smart. And I think it will be great. We will be able to have people coming back and taking the city. I think this is what the message is. We need to reconquer the city for pedestrians. And there are some activities that you can improve. People can go and visit some spaces just by bicycle. So we need, and for the ones who feel more fit, we can have a bicycle path that goes to the Vulcan Park. And so people can train. And if we build this, I promise I will come and I climb that hill. And some other bike sharing. And this is an idea for Mona and for Maria to have maybe a bicycle sharing program station there at the health center. So at the Health Smart in downtown, where people can arrive by bicycle, get checked, maybe do some Zumba, and come back. Okay, this is what I had to show you. Thank you very much for your attention.